story to tell. Today's story, I'm going to title this story In the Flow. Once upon a time, I really loved, and I still do, frankly, synchronicities. Synchronicities, those wonderful moments where you go, oh my gosh, this is magic. That moment where you're thinking of somebody and they walk down the street, or they call you up from across the world, or you're thinking, I just really want muffins today. And then this happened to me, by the way. And my friend, I'm picking something up at her house, and she made me muffins, knowing nothing about my desire, I thought. So I have loved these magical, what I've called magical moments or synchronicities. And I have known about this for my whole adult life. And I can honestly say, it's not that much of an exaggeration to say thousands and thousands and maybe millions of synchronicities I've experienced. For example, I used to keep, and I still do, this God box, I called it. And I would put in either envisionings in writing, or maybe something I would cut out, like something I desired in my life, maybe a material thing or a trip or a way of being. And I was astounded and am astounded at the ways they come true. And for one example, I cut out of a catalog, maybe 25 years ago, something I wanted. I can't even remember. It was a Coldwater Creek catalog, and something I was desiring, a material something. And then 2 months later for Christmas, my elderly mother picked up in Maine, 1,300 miles away, a catalog, and she gave me for Christmas this silver shooting star that can be a necklace, or it can be like a pendant or a pin. And I went, oh my God, that's beautiful, Mom. And then maybe a week or two later, I was looking through my God box that I had, and I looked and I went, oh my gosh, I cut out this thing from this Coldwater Creek catalog, and on the back of it was this shooting star necklace. And that happened about 5 times with my mother, where I would cut something out, and my mother would go, you know, I've never ordered a poster before, but I just felt like you needed this poster, and it was 2 dolphins just flying up into the air. I had cut out that poster out of a catalog, and I had made it into a little card, and I had written some envisionings on the back about relationship. My mother got me the poster. So there's some examples of my mother and my synchronicities. I have examples from every day. The other day, my husband and I were taking a walk, and he goes, it's time to turn around. You know, we have to go eat dinner. And I said, you know, let's just walk a little farther to the bridge. I said, I really want to walk to the bridge. We got to the bridge, and an eagle flew overhead and circled around us. Of course, synchronicities. And so I love synchronicities. And in the beginning of this, I said I used to love synchronicities. Well, still I love synchronicities, but I've been thinking. I think as we open up to the end of this pandemic, and I really do believe there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're getting to a point where we're seeing that and feeling that. We're in a new place. We've all transformed in some way. And we're in a higher vibe, frankly, if we want to be. And so I really believe this, that if we want to, we can live in a way that we flow much more often, where those synchronicities are just normal parts of our everyday. The things we have called magical moments, we can just say, oh my God, and breathe them in. Oh my goddess, and breathe them in. Oh my gosh, and breathe them in. They are just a part of our lives. And so, can we do this always? I don't know. You know, maybe there's a time when we really truly can live that much in the flow. I can tell you personally, right now, I'm not there. I'm better at it. And my days are pretty darn magical. But I can tell you, a confession that today is a couple days before a trip that my husband and I are taking, a road trip where we're camping our way out west to see our kids, a 3-week trip. And I've just got a ton to do. I've got a ton to do for that trip. I just have a ton to do in my life. And I could feel myself getting compulsive. I could feel myself getting perfectionist. I could feel myself when I start making these lists, like, Helen, you are not in the flow. You are going to a place where you're just stressing yourself out. And that's the state I was in, frankly, this morning before this story. And so I think there's some things we can do, because I, for one, am human, and I am not always in the flow, though I feel we can be in it more often. And so I breathed. That was one thing I did. I breathed deeply, and I'm going to do it again right now. That helps, frankly. Just a breath, a conscious breath. And then I took a walk. And when I take a walk, I feel it. For me, movement in that sort of mindful way of moving my body outside in nature does it. It gets me back into my body, grounded. And that's what I think we need. I think we need to feel grounded on this earth, in our bodies, connected to the stars, connected to the magic of the universe, to feel the flow. And it's available to every one of us all the time. And we all have different ways we can get ourselves back into that moment. And by the time I sat down here, I was feeling it. I was feeling, I'm in the flow. I'm in the flow. My flow isn't perfect. My flow is not, my flow is a little clunky maybe, but I'm in the flow. I feel it. And so this is my story within the story today. And so I'm going to say once upon a time again. Once upon a time, about a week and a half ago, in the beginning of May, on May Day, first day of May, that magical May Day, in the north woods of the upper Michigan, a strong wind blew in. And the morning started out really, really cold. It was like sweatshirt and even a down jacket on top of that. And the strong wind blew in, but it was not blowing in off Lake Superior where we live. It was blowing in from the south. And it was really strong. And as the day went on, the strong wind blew. And by the time my husband and I got out on a trail called Carpe Diem, seize the day, by the way, we could feel, it's warming up, but I still was in my sweatshirt. And underneath my sweatshirt, because it was May Day, I had on a sundress. And we're walking on this trail, and this trail traces a lake, or it does not trace a lake. And this trail traces a river that flows out into Lake Superior, a small river, but it was rushing. We could hear it rushing with that spring runoff. And we're walking along, and the trail goes down and up and dips around. It's a trail for walking and for mountain biking, and it's just this awesome trail, and it leads to a waterfall. And we're walking along, and it got warmer and warmer. We got to the waterfall and took in the sound of the waterfall and just breathed it in. And then we started walking back, and we just were going, gosh, we're getting hot. It went from probably 32 degrees to 70 degrees that day. And then I taking my sweatshirt off and tying it around my waist, and we're walking along. And I'm walking ahead of my husband on this trail. It's out and back, and I'm walking ahead of him. And I could smell the earth warming up that day. You could smell it. You could smell that heat in the pine needles. And you could smell that heat in the dirt, and you could smell the water, and you could hear that flow of the river, flowing, flowing, flowing. And the trout lilies that when we started out were little buds had opened up into yellow blossoms just as we were walking along. And I'm taking all of this in, and I'm thinking to myself as I'm walking a little ahead of my husband, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is soaking into my bones. This is so warm, and we live in these cold north woods in the spring, and this is a day that feels like summer. And I'm taking it in that deeply. And I could just really feel that warmth inside of me. And the song came to me. And it was a Gordon Lightfoot song from when my husband and I were in college back in the 70s. And the song is in my head. And I'm just letting this, and it's Gordon Lightfoot's voice in my head, not my voice, it's Gordon Lightfoot's voice. And I'm just soaking in the song, and I'm soaking in the sound of the birds, and I'm soaking in the heat. And I'm walking along, and all of a sudden my husband starts singing that very same song. I'm not kidding. I have it in my head, and my husband is singing, and I haven't heard my husband sing in so long. And he's singing, and you can tell he's happy. And the sound of it, like if I tried to sing it, would not be a great sound. But when he sings it, he sings beautifully. And I'm soaking in the sound of his voice, and it's like soaking in the back of my heart and coming around to the front, and I'm just taking it in. And I thought to myself consciously, I thought, this is a moment. This is a really good moment. I am really happy. I am really happy. I am happy. And I just kept saying that. And my body felt so good walking, and it was so easy to walk. And I really took it in. And I took it with me, and it stayed with me. It stayed with me as my husband said, you know, I never eat French fries. I want French fries. And he got French fries. And the smell of French fries in the car, and we're eating French fries in the car. And you know, that's not what we usually eat. That was good. The whole day felt magical. It felt like life can really be. And I thought, you know, that river was flowing, and I was flowing. And I invite us all to flow like that. I believe we are in a place now on this other side of a year of cocooning where we can open up, we can breathe, we can ground ourselves in the earth, we can open up to the wonder of the expansive universe, because that is how connected we are. That is how connected we are. And when we're connected, it's not like we have a synchronicity here and a synchronicity there and a synchronicity there and a synchronicity there. And we look at our God box and go, oh my gosh, okay, we had a synchronicity. We can live a life of synchronicity flowing and flowing. And maybe we won't even call it synchronicity anymore. It will just be our normal lives. So that's the end of my story. And I just invite us all to breathe and ground ourselves and open ourselves and find ourselves more and more in that place, that magical place of feeling really in tune with the universe, in tune with ourselves, and open to the magic that's really available to us. And so to all of you, I just wish you a wonderful, wonderful spring tipping into summer, and be well, and ask yourself what brings you alive in the moment, and really truly listen to it and go for it. And I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye-bye.